Hello, my name is Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and welcome to another video analysis from the League of Legends 2014 World Championships. This is not a shoutcast, but rather an analysis primarily from the macro level of play. For this game we have Dark Passage versus Samsung White from the first group stages, and this is their first game played against each other. I hope you enjoy and I can provide some insight, and as always feedback is appreciated. So let's jump into the picks and bans. First off, we have Dark Passage banning Yasuo Zillion. Pretty standard bans this early on in the group stages against Samsung White, just keeping them off it. They banned Tristana, as Samsung White has done great on it. Their past game, and really dominating on it. Samsung White, they're banning out Nidalee as Dark Passage. They do like to play it. And they ban out Maokai and Lucian. They're kind of just throwing out bans targeting at players at the moment. Samsung White are clearly the stronger team. They're not too worried about this match. We do get Alistar for the first time, and one of the very few times we'll see him throughout 2014 Worlds. He is very strong, a huge lane bully, dominating force throughout the game. However, Samsung White let it go. To be honest, they just kind of don't care. They pick up Lee Sin and they pick up Ryze, and this is part of their ban phase. Is they left by banning Maokai, they do leave up Ryze and Lee Sin and Alistar, so they're guaranteeing themselves a sort of 2-for-1 trade. Dark Passage take Alistar, they get Ryze, they get Lee Sin. Lee Sin being one of the premier, if not the top jungler in all of Worlds 2014. Lots of bans, lots of strength, almost always up against Kha'Zix. So talking about Alistar versus Ryze, this is primarily just a farm matchup. Ryze can try and bully Alistar, but Alistar is just going to heal up through all the damage, get his headbutts and his punches. He should focus on just farming at first, waiting till he gets his sheen, making sure he has the mana to sustain through Ryze's bullying. When he has enough mana, he can throw out his headbutt for the headbutt punch combo. And other than that, just stay healthy with heal, farm, get into the level 6 bully potential. Look for opportunities to use teleport for ganks. That'll be great. Second wave pickup for Dark Passage, we see Kha'Zix Thresh. Thresh being a strong support, very generic, not really giving away anything. They pick up their jungler, as Samsung White already had theirs. Samsung White, we see them pick up Vayne Janna. This lets them save their middle pick for the counter, as well as just kind of showing off Vayne. Not really a strong champion at the moment, lots of potential for bullying, especially against champions like Caitlyn, Lucian, Corki, sometimes even Kog'Maw. Dark Passage do really like Jinx though, they'll end up picking it up. I'm not fond of this lane. Jinx Thresh is really kind of weak and hard to time things right. Thresh gets a hook to flay, getting that to land on top of Chompers is a little difficult, just because of how much small movement Thresh causes with his hook and with his flay. Whether or not Jinx can get in on time to throw her Chompers for the hook to pull her into it, or if Thresh needs to go in for the flay first. All about delaying when to go in with the hook and what range is at. The other big problem with this lane is Jinx doesn't really have a level 1 skill, so I'll get into that in a second. Samsung White pick up Talon. Talon is a really good pick against Orianna, not because he can kill her, but because once he hits 6, he really becomes sort of a bully. And I'll get into that matchup as well. Going back to the 2v2 lanes, Thresh Jinx really don't have a lot of synergy. There is the protection with the Lantern from Thresh, but Jinx has no real ability to bully. She needs some higher form of damage coming from her partner, or greater CC, or some better forms of protection, I think. Thresh is just kind of generic. He does all around. He doesn't capitalize on what Jinx can do. Going into Vayne versus Vayne Janna, it's really weak, especially at level 1. Level 1, Vayne is going to pick up Tumble. Janna picks up her shield, and Vayne will just get Janna's shield, tumble into Jinx, and shoot her. Granted, Jinx has the ability to go to rockets in a range, but if Jinx tries to harass with her level 1 Q, or level 1 rockets, the range isn't large enough. Vayne just tumbles forward with Janna's shield, takes the hit, gets off the hit with the extra AD from Janna, and wins the trade. And now she's in range to keep chasing Jinx and deal damage with Janna's shield if Jinx does not back off. Overall, it's really just a losing trade. One of the few times where Vayne is actually is not going to be able to be bullied in lane. Janna will protect her from Thresh, and tumbling forward when Jinx tries to harass is going to net Vayne more trade damage. As long as she stays away from hooks, flays, and zaps, then Vayne will be perfectly fine. And we can actually see Samsung White take the lead in the match from level 1. If they get good tumbles, like maybe 2 tumbles, 3 tumbles onto Jinx before level 2, then Samsung White will definitely take the lead in this match and be able to control the entire lane from there, totally negating the weakness of Vayne and actually making her the lane bully in this matchup. As it goes on, once Jinx gets higher level and more range into rockets, she will be able to harass Vayne from a much safer ability. As long as Vayne hasn't got too far ahead and is unable to all in with her level 6, then the lane matchup should start to turn, as long as they can get some poke. Unfortunately, Vayne does go Bilgewater Cutlass into Blade of the Rune King, and Jinx's poke is not super strong, so it's going to be hard to keep her down. It's not a winning matchup. I really don't like the Jinx pick into this. If she had picked Corki, that would have been great. Even Caitlyn could have really put the hamper onto Vayne and shut her down. So I do give this bot lane matchup to Samsung White, provided that they can do good at the level 1, at the level 2. Going into the middle matchup, Orianna is safe against Talon. There's really no reason that Orianna should lose this matchup in a sense. She should have the same farm, if not more. She should feel safe and not get killed. However, she won't have control of the lane. Talon, once he hits 6, will definitely take control of the lane. And there we see what he's saying. Vayne gets a shield, tumble, free damage onto Jinx. Before level 6, the lane is really in Orianna's hands, and she can be very iffy, and she has to play really well with her ball movements. And I'll touch on that later in the match, as it's kind of detailed. But for now, at level 6, Talon, all he has to do is go do his full combo onto Orianna. Jump in, use his cutthroat, his silence, and then just ult. Jump in, ult, back off. He'll do about half of Orianna's HP, and this puts her on the back foot in the lane. Even though he now loses his kill potential, he never really had it before, and with having his ultimate be only 60 seconds, it really allows him to control the lane. Anytime his ultimate is up, he should be using it on Orianna, getting that free damage, and then backing out. It makes her very, very safe. This is a great TP by Alistar, because it stops the first blood kill. It was great communication, saved Thresh's life. And it's great that he cancelled it too. They saw that they backed off. The window of opportunity by Samsung White was gone. Good play by Thresh, or good play by Alistar to save his teammate. But yeah, so when Talon hits 6, just go in on Orianna, keep her low, and this allows you to have control over the lane, have control over objectives to the side. It just gives you the pressure, even though you're not going to get the kill. So not always do you need to use your ultimate for kills. Sometimes just creating pressure and making sure you have control of the lane is worthwhile. And those are the lanes. I'm going to go into the overall team strategies next, and then I'll come back to the early game Ori versus Talon matchup. Overall strategies for both teams, there really isn't any. Both teams are quite disjointed. The win conditions are simply win lane, win game. There's no overall team cohesion. They're all very brawly, very fight-oriented, do your own thing. Looking at Samsung White, we have Ryze, Lisa, and Talon. They're all sort of pseudo skirmish assassin people. So is Vayne. She's a duelist one-on-one. Samsung White want to get a lot of one-on-one fights. They want to get the lead. And then they just take the lead from lanes, from one-on-ones and skirmishes, and now they have a better team fight. That's really all that there is to their team. Their 5v5 team synergy doesn't really exist. They have nothing going together as fives, but they are strong in 1v1s, in like 3v3s, in small numbers. They have good strength, so you can just expect Samsung White to be playing this game to win based on skill alone. They want to win from the lanes, transition that into control. That's all there really is to their team. There is no grand strategy here. The same goes for DP. Dark Passage's team, there's no real grand strategy there either. They pick strong champions that they're comfortable on, but they don't necessarily synergize together. They got Alistar. He's really strong. He's a lane bully. He can be tanky. He can brawl fight, get damage. But he's the only front line, and he's only front line during his ultimate. If his ultimate's down, he's very weak. There's no other champion to go in with. There is the possibility for him to go headbutt combo, deliver the Orianna ball, and get some nice damage. It's fairly good in the group 5v5. Taking a break here, we see Talon goes in with his level 6, takes out a good half HP of Orianna, and just gets away without trade. It's just free damage, and it puts Orianna on the back foot and puts Dark Passage as a whole on the back foot. Talon should know he should never be able to kill Orianna because she has exhaust. Therefore, he should not even worry about it. Getting these free damage trades with his ultimate is the best possible thing he could be doing. But back to Dark Passage's team. They have double resets. They have a little bit of pick potential. It's really just them picking comfort picks that they think they can play well by themselves, and then moving into fights. There's no real focus on dragon objectives or poke, team fights, 5v5s. There's no synergy, essentially. Oh, and a lot of this tends to come from probably the Jinx and the Thresh picks. If Jinx had been Caitlyn, Nami, they could have gone for some good tower pushing and used Alistar and Orianna as defense. However, they didn't, so they're really kind of stuck here. There's just no real synergy for either side. So their win condition is the same as Samsung White's. Win lane, win game. However, Dark Passage is going into a team who is clearly superior to them in individual skill. So Dark Passage are the ones who really need to have a plan. They really needed to pick something like Kaboom did against Alliance, where as the supposedly inferior team, they crafted a great strategy and a great team composition, and that carried and their execution of it carried them to the win over a superior individual team. So having said that, we get into this match that's really very solo queue-esque, all about the lanes, where the junglers go. This is probably something you could see in master level play in solo queue. Just aside from the fact that their individual skill is higher, but the team strategy is essentially the same as we're playing our lanes and that's it. So what we've seen so far is not a lot. See, Talon goes in. Ori's exhaust is very late in this situation, but she didn't know he was going to go for the all-in. It does end up saving her life, and it pushes her out of lane again. This gives Samsung White a great opportunity if they choose to go get Dragon. They see Kha'Zix up top through a ward. They just pushed out the mid lane, and this gives them a 4v2 on Dragon. And this is part of the strength of using a low CD ultimate like Talon's against a safe mid laner. Even though you're not going to get the kill, you do create objective pressure for your team. And Samsung White take the first Dragon. exactly what you should do if you see anytime you have a 4v2, whatnot. Just take the dragon, take the easy gold, take the objective. Help solidify the lead. And while nothing else is going on, oh wait, let's see. Yeah, if you didn't see exactly what happened here, which was pretty cool, Vayne used her ultimate in the bush, tumbled, that way she was invisible to get into the second push and gain positioning on DP. Good exhaust, a good hook flay, and ultimate from Thresh, does good protection, keeps them safe. It was a very nice sneaky move by Vayne, but just didn't quite work out. Does push DP out of lane, and allows Samsung White to get even higher CS lead. So, going back to talk about Orianna versus Talon in the early match, levels 1 through 5, particularly when Talon gets his level 3 and gets his full combo. Orianna should really be using her advantage at level 1. Get all the audio attacks you can, get any ball movements you can to attack Talon, try and burn as much as possible, because you have to get through that flask. And that's actually a difficult task early on. But if she can, she should just get all her auto attacks. They're very strong, especially because of her passive, Clockwork Windup. And once level 2, level 3 hits, she really needs to do one of two things. She needs to either keep her ball very close, or not use Command Protect to draw it back in. Once Talon hits level 3, he will be planning to use his full combo. Cutthroat Rake, I can't remember the name of the other one at the moment, but the Silence. So he'll jump in on Ori, do his damage, and then most likely try and run. Now this gives Ori a couple of options. It depends on where her ball is placed. If her ball is far away from her, which makes it a lot easier for Talon to get his damage and get out, then she needs to not use Command Protect. If she uses Command Protect when her ball is far away from her, Talon will be able to get away without Ori able to retaliate. The travel time once the silence wears out, then the travel time from Protect will allow Talon to simply walk away and get far enough away to be able to dodge the Q coming in from Orianna. So if the ball is far away, then Orianna needs to cut Talon off with her command attack. He needs to aim where he's going so that the ball has short distance to travel. She hits the Command Protect, gets the dissonance, gets some auto attacks while he's slowed, then she can go for an even trade. However, if she keeps the ball close to her, then she will be able to Command Protect herself, and while she's chasing after Talon, and follow up with a very short range Q, dissonance, and trade that way. It's all about the distance of the ball depending on how she reacts, because the travel time between Protect and Command is what's going to dictate if she's able to trade damage with Talon properly. Even though Talon is the melee, and generally it's scary when he goes in, Orianna can provide similar, if not superior, trade damage at levels 1 through 5, and especially with having exhaust, should not need to worry about Talon going all in. It should just worry about trading evenly with him and try and keep him low. That ball movement will also, the ball distance also comes a lot into play when dealing with Zed and with dealing with Yasuo as well. And that'll be talked about in other videos when that matchup shows up. So as this match is portraying, we see Samsung White, they're starting to make a few moves. We saw the first Lee Sin ultimate gank. Very good use of Thresh Lantern, saves Jinx. Any new players to Thresh should realize that when ganks happen, sometimes it's best for you to run away and let your ADC get attacked and use a lantern for safety, rather than you trying to actually protect the ADC. Samsung White are now starting to bully DP. They're using their superior map rotations, skirmish potential, their propensity for brawling to control the map. They took red buff, now they took the blue buff. They caught Ori trying to go there. Here we see Talon, he's doing a neat thing, he's trying to get in with his ultimate. So Kha'Zix doesn't leap away. Fortunately, he was able to get away. But he did end up burning his flash. So, you know, big thing with Talon, you need to roam, get your kills, use that ultimate as much as possible. It's only a minute cooldown, and it's almost every time you use it, you do get something out of it. It's just his combo does that much damage. Dark Passage are on the back foot now. Every lane has essentially lost. Mid is even, actually, and that's the only one that's working out. Top lane, Alistar is behind in Rise by a good 30 CS, which is pretty bad. Another thing to note with this Alistar pick is that Vayne does true damage, so she ignores Alistar's ultimate with that. Makes her a good pick against him, also against Maokai. But for now, they have sent Vayne top to deal with Alistar because she can pretty much 1v1 him at this point. It won't be until Alistar has, say, his Triforce, or maybe even Triforce Static Shiv, where he can fight her evenly. So she should easily be able to take this turret. The rest of Samsung White's team will go and do as they please. Rise is stronger. Jinx is behind by a good 30 CS as well. And Samsung White just know they're the better players. Here, Jinx gets caught. They just saw... She just saw them at Dragon, and as soon as it went down, she should have been backing. There wasn't a reason for her to be out there. They had the wards up, so just a misplay. But it's now we see Samsung White. They're actually starting to hunt. This is the first kill they've gotten, and they are they're over 5,000 gold ahead. Just from better CS in lanes, better jungle control, better dragon control. They've got this match pretty much in the bag. Since neither team has a real strategy, and it's just about outplaying individually, and with Samsung White 5k gold ahead, it's pretty much in their hands. Losing is... it's their game to lose. They've already won it, pretty much to say. DP could go for some crazy plays. I mean, at this point, they're just going to get whittled down by Samsung White. I know they look at this match and they say, oh, it's only 0-1. Okay, we're down to 2 towers. You know, we're doing okay. But in reality, they're not, because they're fighting a better team, and the better team is way ahead. You look at the CS scores, and there's 40 difference on 2 champions, 10 on the others. And then, you know, they've got 2 dragons, they've got the turrets. It's a lot of gold that adds up. DP are just slowly getting whittled down. You know, this is essentially a game of LoLByTheNumbers, as the phrase goes. Samsung White are methodically taking the win. They're not making overplays, they're not doing anything crazy. They won the laning phase, they won the skirmishes. They're just slowly taking this to the win. You never really even see them group up. It's always in their lanes or in small 3v3 fights. They still have yet to group up as a team. What Dark Passage could do is look for an opportunity to move somewhere as 5. Earlier on there was one probably right as the top tower went down and Samsung White backed. So look for a point where one of their members backs and the lanes start to push. Like right now, Talon's backing off, but top isn't. They just need to find an opportunity. Group is 5 and push. They have to do something, and it has to be drastic. And at this point, for them, all that means is they have to go 5v5. They have to force it. Hope that they can get resets on Jinx and Kha'Zix. That'll really get them going. A good Alistar initiation onto Orianna ball would be ideal. That's what I would really like to see. Because they have to go do something. If they sit back and just wait, they're playing the game of slow death. So they either go as 5, make a good play, or go as 5 and lose the game quickly. And that's really their only hope at this moment. As for Samsung White, like I said, the game's in their bag. They can just do what they're doing, slow push every lane, and wait for DP to screw up. And each time they'll get more and more advantages. As we see, Talon's pretty much unstoppable in the bot lane right now. No one can go fight him one-on-one. He's got his split push item, Hydra. I make a note of how I don't like Hydra being finished in some other matches, but in this one it's okay because they're so far ahead that the extra split push potential just puts more pressure onto DP. And here we see, the power of Talon. He went in, killed Jinx 1v1, just blew her up. And then Samsung White's ahead. DP try and make a play at the blue buff, and just die to Samsung White. Their superior play and their superior gold advantage. Vayne's a great duelist, great in these skirmishes, and she really cleans up that fight, especially without Jinx there, without any solid CC. Gonna look at items, or I like Orianna's build. I don't really enjoy when Orianna's build Chalice against an AD middle. It seems to me like it's very inefficient. I know we all want that mana safety. I really enjoy, one of the builds I like seeing is Tear the Goddess into Zhonya's and using your blue runes for your CDR. You can get, if you want to use your quintessences as well, you can get 30% CDR just from your runes. This means you don't have to buy Chalice for the CDR or Morellonomicon. You just can get it outside of items. This allows you to pick up a tier for your mana and then go quickly into your Zhonya's. And while it does take a little bit more scaling up, generally if you're fighting an AD mid, Orianna is going to want to scale. You want to have all that mana. You really need that mana. You want to put the pressure. The early Zhonya's gives you protection, and then once you can pull out that Archangel Scepter, the AP and the defensive stats are huge. It really protects you against the strong AD comps. Once again, we just see Samsung White outplaying DP, getting good rotations. Make note of how many wards are out in the map by Samsung White. It's literally completely littered. They have full vision of everything Dark Passage is doing, and this allows Vayne to go do stuff like this, knowing not to follow too far because Alistar and Jinx are nearby. Janet makes a great save onto Vayne. Very close. And essentially, Samsung White do a 2v5 into a 3v5 and finally a 4v5, and they just outplay and win, and here's the game. So I don't know how much there is to take away from this match, other than if you let yourself get whittled down, you really have to make a big play. You have to try something. And in this situation where they have never team fight, it might as well be a team fight. I also hope you can take away some knowledge of Orianna versus melee champions from this, as well as crafting a good team is essential. You can't really just play willy-nilly if you're the underdogs. You should always, even if you're not the underdogs, even if you're Samsung White, you should be crafting a solid team to beat the others, especially on the world stage. However, to them, this is just a stroll in the park, so we can cut them some slack. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed listening in, and at least something was insightful for this match. The notes for this match can be found in the notes below. There's a link to my blog, to the portal page for all of the 2014 Worlds matches, where you can find the notes, links to the notes, and links to the videos. So thanks again for listening, and hope it was insightful. Bye.